Hello everyone, Felix from Nintendo Life here, and we know the Wii U just turned 10, but the Wii also just had an anniversary. It's old enough to drive, can you believe that? And to reminisce about all the wondrous joy that we had, I'm joined by Mr. Sion.
Is this your parents' car? I'm gonna need to see some license and registration, Wii. Why is the Wii so old?
It is crazy that it's that old, and like 16 years, I just have so many memories that I want to share with you, and I'm sure you have too, Sion.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the Wii is known for a lot of really bad games, but there's a lot of special experiences that we never would have had without the Wii. But it is still insanely wild how fast time flies. Like, think back to where you were 16 years ago.
I was 4.
You have so much life ahead of you, Felix.
So anyway, I think I should just start with how I got my Wii, because I got it in a, well, rather unusual way. I played violin on the street to earn money so I could buy the Wii, and I was quite young at the time. I have a picture right here. I don't have it for you right now, Sion, but the people can see it on the screen right now. I'm playing.
I look forward to being able to see it with them as well.
Yeah, you can see me here playing, and I didn't have enough for Christmas, which I was really bummed about. My parents always said, no, you can't get a Wii, it's too expensive. If you want it, earn it yourself. So Christmas Eve comes around and I open all my presents, but at the end there's 2 packages left. So I opened the next to last package and whoa, it's Mario Kart Wii, but wait a second, I don't have a Wii. But don't forget, there's a package left, and that was the Wii itself. And then my parents said, if you give us all the money you've earned, like I almost had the money for it, then we'll give you the Wii. And they were like, yes, I need to play it today. So
nice.
That's how I got my Wii. Do you remember how you got your Wii, Sion?
Yeah, I do want to say too that I love the fact that like you remember opening Mario Kart first.
Yeah.
And like, so did you know that the other box was the Wii, or were you like, Mom, Dad, like how are we supposed to play this? We don't have a Wii.
I think I knew, yeah.
That's good. Mine was a bit more like, I guess, like I knew that we were gonna get a Wii, or at least we hoped so. I think I might have shared this story before, so I'll keep it like brief. But I like got a GameCube, not right when it came out, but I was like into that and the N64. So like the Wii was kind of just like not like an obvious thing, but it was like, yeah, like of course I want the Wii. But I was also like in a situation too where like I had to like earn money as well, like to get the things that I wanted. And but my grandpa, the problem was that like they were doing pre-orders for Wii's, and like if you didn't get a pre-order, like you probably like it was going to be a tough time to get one in the US. So my grandpa ended up like going to our local mall like the day that they started pre-orders, and he waited in line for me.
That's
and
so
pre-ordered
sweet.
a Wii. Yeah, it was really cool because like it was during the school day. I wasn't going to be able to go. I couldn't drive. I mean, unlike the Wii now.
I wish I had a grandpa like that.
My grandpa's really special. Like even both my grandparents are really cool. But yeah, so I ended up getting it through that, and then I remember like the first night we ended up picking it up. We picked it up like there was a midnight launch for it, and we got Wii Sports like bundled in, and we got Twilight Princess, which like Zelda was like the reason I wanted the Wii. But then I also got Trauma Center, which was like a medical like anime-esque like simulator almost. It like has these like the main gameplay. Yeah.
There were some weird games on the Wii that I feel like some of them define my childhood, even though it's like we have games like Rayman Raving Rabbits. I know you also have that game.
Yeah.
It's like I have so fond memories of it, but some of the stuff is really weird.
Yeah, you're right. Like it is one of those systems where like the developers just got to get silly with a lot of stuff, and like especially like Rayman too. Like I didn't buy that game, or we never owned it, but I rented it. Because when the Wii came out, that was during a time where like there were just like video rental stores all over the place in the US here still, and so like renting things was still a big deal. And we rented Rayman, and it's so weird. Like you and I were just talking about it a little bit before. There's like Rayman gets spit out into this like Coliseum, and then there's all these like mini games that he plays with these like new rabbit characters, and there's plungers all over the place, and like toilet jokes, and the rabbits scream so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I just have a bunch of stories I want to I'll just start with one, then we can like bounce off each other.
Sure.
And
Sure.
I got hired to play at this like festival. I was not very old, so they hired me solely because I was very young and looked very cute. I don't know if I can find a picture, but I got a bunch of money.
And you've been playing like an instrument, like I don't want to say your whole life too, but just like as a bit
I started
of
when I was
context,
4
right?
years old, like 4.5. I started playing violin.
That's so
So
cool.
this festival, I got paid. Well, to me, it was a lot of money at the time. I was not very old, and I used all the money there. There was a stand that just sold Wii games and accessories, and I bought just like. I only bought that stuff. I remember buying so I could have 4 wheels to play with my friends in Mario Kart. I bought wireless nunchucks, like you put them in and they like were wireless, and it was just
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I just went crazy with buying stuff. I remember I bought this game where you like a little blob and you like have to control it. I don't remember the game, but it's like you're little like this metallic blob almost, and you like to have to control it through a stage.
Was it Mercury? Maybe.
I think
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah,
Okay.
is that what it's called? The game?
I never played it, but there was a game called like Mercury Revolution or something like that, maybe.
I have
And
to
I
the
remember,
internet.
what the cover just shows like a silver blob on like a white background in the U.S. here. Oh, Meltdown.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly
That's
the game. Yeah,
Nice.
Mercury Meltdown Revolution. Oh wow, I remember I loved this game. I thought it was so bizarre. I've never heard anyone talk about this game like ever since then, and I have lost the game. So I'm really glad that you could like oh wow, I'm just looking at pictures right now. That's so sweet. That's like my monkey ball game.
Yeah.
At least
Is that kind of how it was? It like you moved the world
Yeah.
around and like controlled this like this slime
maybe you
ball,
just
basically?
control the blob, but I just remember like it was stages and you have to get from point A to point B, and it looks a little bit like it. I'm not seeing any gameplay right now, but oh
That's
wow,
sweet, though.
that brings it back.
Well, I didn't mean to cut you off too either, but so you got that. Like, was there anything else that happened within that like that moment? Your wireless nunchucks and
I'm trying to remember what I think I bought Mario Strikers, the
Whoa.
one for the Wii. And it was such a raw experience. It was so different than any other Mario game I had played before. And I know I also bought stuff for my DS, but this talk is about the Wii. So right now I can't remember. My memory is a bit fussy, but I do have tons of other games I played. I especially remember really liking Mario and Sonic, the Olympic Games, the 2008 in Beijing.
yeah.
That was so fun. I loved like doing the sprint where you had to like shake the remotes and stuff, and
That was such like a cool thing too for just even like I think for like me and like
such a
people
cool
that,
crossover.
Yeah, like it really felt like that could never happen because like I don't remember too much of the
That was the Smash Bros of my childhood. That was Mario and Sonic.
yeah like 'cause, I mean Sonic and Mario like for the longest time were just rivals, and nowadays it's really like, you know, that's not the case anymore, but it's just looking back, it's just very cool to see that they made that work out.
Have you played it, Sion?
I did, yeah. I think that was another one that I don't think we ever owned, but I think I rented it. And yeah, I played with one of my best friends, Zach. Like we did a YouTube video back in the day as well, where we were trying to like hit like this world record because it had online leaderboards.
Come on,
it's
Sion,
a very
check it out.
yeah, dude. I probably still have the video hanging around here, but it's pretty cringe now. But yeah, it was a really cool game. I don't like that video. I think is my strongest memory of the game. But we did have a lot of fun with it. It was so different than anything else, I suppose, too. Just with the motion controls.
It was a fun party game.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Sonic, the first Sonic game I played, like fully Sonic, was Sonic and the Secret Rings.
Oh, you dang it! I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah. I don't know why I got it. Maybe I just thought
I had it
remember
too.
There was so many Sonic games, and like I remember there was a racing Sonic game I could get, and there was like this Sonic game where he had like a sword almost, and like one where he was just running, and then there was this. I just thought it looked really cool, and I guess I just chose really badly.
Well, I think I think everybody felt that way because like Sonic and the Secret Rings was I like loved Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 on like the GameCube and the Dreamcast, and so like I was already like guaranteed that I was ready to love this game. I was like reading about it in magazines and stuff, and then it came out, and it just like you were so fast, and it's like hard to control because it was motion controls only, and like if you look at the pictures, it looks like a cool game, but then you get your hands on it, and it's just not. It's not easy to maneuver, and you're dying all the time. And
I put it down really quick. I don't remember much from it, but I remember when I like played it for the first time, and like it's just one of my earliest Sonic memories.
I don't blame you for like not picking up another Sonic game potentially after that either, because that. And I guess Sonic got better. Like I never played Sonic Colors on the Wii, but I've heard great things about it. Even though they remastered it and stuff for Switch and PS4 and stuff, I've heard that the Wii version is still really solid. The music's different too on the Wii version, but so Sonic gets better, but that first stab was not great. So there's this one game that I used to play with my friend Zach as well, who I did the Mario and Sonic Olympic Games video with. It's called Dokapon Kingdom. Yeah. It's an RPG, but it's a 4-player like multiplayer board game as well. So it's like, imagine Mario Party, where you have a board and you're like trying to collect stuff and like be the best, you know? So it's like that, but instead of mini games, you partake in battles against like monsters that are on the map, and then you can fight against each other, and like you can prank each other. And it was really like, at the time, I think it was just one of like the most different games I'd ever played, because it was like taking this like turn-based RPG formula that I loved, but like making it so I could like play it with friends, and it was competitive. I don't know if there was a co-op mode, but the thing is every time I would play it, I never played it single player. I always did it multiplayer, but Zach and I played it like probably like more than half the times I've ever played that game I played with Zach, but I would always fall asleep when we'd play. Because I don't know, I don't think I necessarily got bored. Maybe.
No, you were just losing, and then you were like, I'm really tired. Can we call it a day?
Probably. I don't remember ever being any good at it. So I bet that was probably a big reason. But
is it a game you've heard other people talk about, like since you played it as a kid?
Like in my friends circle, like my local friends circle. Like I knew other people that like I bought and sold the game to, because I was still working at GameStop when that came out. And so like I knew a few people, but besides like John Cartwright, like him and I have talked about Dokapon before, but no, I've never chatted about that game with another human in my life that knows what it is. So no, it's
just so fascinating that imagine being this game developer, you create a game, and that game can like really be something so important to you. Like they probably never imagined that, you know, well, maybe
like the impact it would have, you mean, like on a single person's life?
Exactly. Like how much impact some games has, even if they don't know it. I mean, of course, with games like Mario and Sonic, but like more obscure games, even still, it's just really fascinating, like how much these things can mean to us. But you know what also had a big impact on my life? There was this Wii game, and it was Beatles Rock Band. Oh, I played Beatles
Oh my
Rock
gosh,
Band.
really?
Yeah, I played it so much. My father had he had this plan. He loved the Beatles, and he wanted me to get in on it. So what he did, he saw this game was coming. He figured out which songs were on there, and then he made like a CD so we could listen to it in the car. I didn't know these songs were going to be in the game, but then we listened to them, and I just I knew all the songs. I could sing them like inside out. And then the game came out, and he bought it on launch day and came home with it, and all these songs I'd heard, they were in this game, and you could sing, you could play the bass, you could play the guitar, you could play the drums. It was so fun, and it was such a fun family game, because then mom could try and sing, because you didn't need to sing the words, you just needed to try and hit the notes. Dad could play the bass, I could play the drums, and then my little brother could, I don't know, he was 2 at the time, so
you play the air drums, whatever he wants. Yeah, I'm
a huge Beatles fan, and I think that's because of it. It was such a magical experience, because it has a story mode, and there you experience Beatles from the start, and you play some of the early songs, and then you proceed to play later and later songs. And I really hope anyone who's watching this knows the game. I remember it looking so good. The graphics were so amazing, and now looking back,
I do remember. So bad.
It looks so bad. Think? No, it looks so bad.
I thought they did a good. I mean, I remember I have not looked at the graphics or the screenshots in years, but I do remember at the time too, looking at that and thinking that they did a really good job of because it's kind of cel shaded, animated, but it's it's still them, and like the backgrounds were really bright and colorful, but yeah, that's a bummer.
It's just funny how we remember games looking better, like when we were children. When we were children, I don't think like graphics at all mattered. At least for me, like this has nothing to do with the Wii, but I remember I had like this little flash drive where my mom had like a couple of films on it, and one of them was recorded in a cinema. The quality was awful, but I don't.
Oh my gosh!
I remember it like being crystal clear, but like I found the flash drive a couple of years later, and then I saw the movie, and it was like, wow, this looks so bad. Like,
yeah.
And I remember it, like the movie cut off like just when the credits rolled, and I thought, oh, that's weird. Why don't the credits roll? And it's just because the recording stopped. Oh man.
I mean, I suppose maybe that's one of those things where like you just it's like if someone told you that you could play the next Smash Brothers right now, but you have to play it like through a pocket camera and like of someone else, you know, like.
No, but like I didn't know it was recorded in a cinema. Like if I saw it now, I would not be able to watch it. But when I was a kid, that stuff didn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I guess, and maybe that's what I mean is like you didn't have an option, but also like you just didn't care because it was like, or it didn't.
Maybe my brain was just not developed.
Well, maybe your brain hadn't like developed the thought that like something was wrong, you know?
Well, it wasn't. Like I was younger, of course, my brain wasn't as developed, but it's just really fun to like also hear people talking about Twilight Princess and thinking, oh, that game looks so good. Like when it came out, I remember it looked realistic, and now looking back, you know, it looks really dated, and I'm excited to see how that's going to be like in the future for people who like are playing the Switch. Are they going to think, oh, this actually looks pretty good, or are they going to be in the same boat?
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel like the Wii has like the benefit of the fact that like with really stylized visuals, like you can get by with stuff, or even like hand-drawn games like Wario Land Shake It, like you talked about recently in your Wario video, and like even going back to like WarioWare, which is one of my favorite games. Those games kind of just like withstand time, hopefully infinitely. But speaking of graphics, there's this game called No More Heroes that came out on the Wii. That was like, I don't know, did you ever play it or did you see it, anything of it? Or
I didn't see of it before. I've heard No More Heroes like coming to the Switch and stuff, but
yeah, well, it came out. I should look it up and find out when it came out, but it was probably when I was like 13 or 14, and it's M-rated. Yeah. You're playing as this assassin named Travis Touchdown, who's like a punk, and he's super into anime, but he's also just like, he just swears all the time and has like this bad attitude. But there was something like, I don't know, relatable and kind of cool about him back then that I loved. And the first game and the second game both take advantage of the motion controls and the Wii remote. So it's not like a one-to-one like Skyward Sword is, where like you see your controller move on screen, you know, in the perfect-ish motion. But it, like you swing the Wii remote and Travis will swing like potentially in the direction you swing in, or like just do attacks. And there's like this bike that you can ride around in this open world. And I didn't play a lot of like things like Grand Theft Auto or anything because I was such a Nintendo kid.
It was No More Heroes was your Grand Theft Auto.
I guess like there wasn't really anything to do in like the sandbox world, but it was still like driving around though, I think gave me that experience of like exploring a world, and like that's kind of realistic. And and looking back now too, like I think the cutscenes in that game are super cool. Like all of the boss fights are really neat, but the rest of the game is kind of just like this package, I guess. But I'm not mad I played it. Just that was one that like had a big impact on me over the years. But do you remember, and maybe this wasn't the case for you or for everyone, but I remember like very actively, like whenever a friend would come over and we'd play Wii Sports or something, I would like force, like they had to make a me.
Yes, I did that all the time. We have to make the me. Okay, eyebrows. No, that doesn't look like it. We have to make it precise.
Wait, can you stand in front of the TV for a second?
Always. And I also remember watching YouTube videos. Oh yeah, people are gonna think my Miis are so cool, and just rip them off from YouTube. I had Peter Griffin and Mario and Waluigi and stuff. Oh, those were the days.
So I played So do you remember Wii Play? Did you ever have that one at all?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was so fun.
So I played it and thought it was fine. It felt like it really felt like a $10 game. Because I think like in the US here, I'm assuming in Europe they did it too, but like you got the game and you got a Wii remote and it was like $50 or something like that. So it was like, and the Wii remotes I think were 40 US here. So it's basically a $10 game. And but then Wii Play Motion came out. Did you ever play that one or hear about that at all?
I've heard about it. I just never played it.
Sure. So it's like the sequel to Wii Play, I guess, but it came out around the time that the Motion Plus came out. And it came out, it was very similar to Wii Play where it came with a Wii remote, but it had the Motion Plus adapter. And all the games in here just felt a bit more like inventive because they all used the Wii remote in like just a really special way. And there's one mini game though. And actually a fun fact about that game too is like a bunch of the mini games are all developed by like random studios. Like Nintendo worked with like a bunch of different devs.
I saw a video. I think it was Scott the Was who like did a video on them, and I saw all the different studios that made game for them. So I actually know.
Maybe that's where I heard that too.
Yeah.
But there's one mini game in there, and there's a rock skipping mini game, and I swear like I want to do like a whole video just on that mini game itself.
Just on that mini game.
Yeah, because it's so awesome. Peaceful. Like there's something about rock skipping. Like I still love doing it when I go to like when I'm on a beach or like at a shore with some friends or something.
Rock
like,
skipping is genuinely fun. Yeah.
Right. Like you're not shooting for a score. Maybe you're trying to get it to the other side of the water or whatever.
What are you talking about, Sion? I want to get that high score.
But it's all about just like it's not like
it's
not a super long thing, right? Like it's just you throw a rock, you grab another one, you throw it.
It's so relaxing.
Yeah, and I feel like
I wish there was a video game only with rock skipping. Like that.
Dude,
like make
I feel
that
like
fun.
this game. Yeah, I feel like the mini game in Wii Play Motion like nails the fun of rock skipping, and it like. With the motion controls, it feels kind of realistic as long as you don't let go of the Wii remote.
It's actually pretty interesting because I never really had that like extra Wii motion adapters, so I know it was like the superior way to play, but I could only play it I had a friend who had that, and we played a lot of Wii Sport Resort, but I never owned Wii Sport Resort.
Oh, nice.
Because I didn't have that like adapter. I don't know. I think maybe I didn't know, or I just didn't care at the time. But what I did have was Wii Fit.
Oh, did you? See, I never had that.
Wii Fit was the funnest thing to like pull out when my friends came over and like, look at this. This is like the VR of my time. You stand on this board, and I love the mini games especially. There was the whole yoga thing, and I think that's why my mom bought it in the first place. But I love the mini games. The one I loved the most though was ski jump. Oh, that was like with my friends trying to get that high score, like letting go at the right time.
Do you jump on the board? Is that like how it works?
No. I think you do a squat almost, and there was also like a balancing game where you have to avoid obstacles. It was almost like Wipeout just in the game, but Wii Fit was really fun, and it's not a thing I hear tons of people talking about.
I mean, it's one of those things too that like for me back then, I think I was never like interested in it at the time because there wasn't like a bundle that had like a game that was just geared towards like having fun. Instead, it was like, oh, like get active. And I know there were games like there was a monkey ball game that used the balance board and a few other like Nintendo games too, but yeah, I think it just...
Did it sell well?
Yeah, I think so. Like a lot of people, kind of like what you were saying about your mom, like maybe wanting it for yoga. I think there are a lot of parents out there that just bought the Wii and then bought Wii Fit and they got Wii Sports with the system. So they were like, I don't need anything else. Maybe we'll get Mario Kart, but then that would be it. But yeah, like I'll go to garage sales like all the time in the US here, and there'll be somebody that just like I'll be like, oh, do you have any video games? And they're like, oh, we got a Nintendo Wii over there and Wii Fit. Like that happens all the time, so often.
Oh man,
I don't know what the sales
Fit
data is on Wii Fit, but I think it was a lot.
I think we should do a video only on Wii Fit one day. That would be really interesting.
I mean, I'd love to teach myself something. So yeah, let's do it. I know you and I have talked about this one, but WarioWare Smooth Moves, like that was probably like my big party game. Like, I mean, I would play like a lot of Wii Sports with friends and like Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Like I played that game so much with friends and like loved unlocking the characters, but there was something like really simple and like just organically fun about WarioWare. because the multiplayer modes throw you into these mini games like you'd expect from the WarioWare series.
Yeah.
Oh, you have now. Cool. Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. I couldn't remember if you had at the time, but
So when we talked about it, you actually said to me that I should buy it, and I bought it, and I played it with my little brother, and I...
Oh, sweet.
man, the big cheese? What?
Is that the one where you hold it above your head or something?
I think so.
Like, what does that even mean? Big
I don't
cheese,
know,
why?
the big cheese. Oh,
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Just kept like giving games. But you were saying?
Yeah. No. I love that. That's it's such a weird game, and you don't even have to know how to play video games really to like play that. And if you mess up, it's okay because the person you're playing against or the people you're playing with are also gonna mess up. So it just like it's just so funny to watch people play that stupid game.
It is a really good game. I will give you that. It's like
I'm glad.
Very inventive very inventive mini games. It made very good use of the Wiimote. Like it wouldn't have worked on any other systems. It was the right place at the right time.
That was one of those games for me too, where I think it just was always like, oh, do you want to play again? Like one more round? Sure. Like we'll just. Like we would do I don't know if you guys played this, but there's the alligator mini game where you're running on like a track and you don't have to move your Wii remotes or anything like that, but like it's a baton pass maybe is what it was called, I think. And you would pass the Wii remote to whoever's turn it was. And then they would do a mini game and then the Wii remote would get passed to another person.
Yeah. I think we tried that.
And then okay, sweet. And then at the end there's like all of the characters get like held above these crocodiles in the water or alligators or something, and based on like how many wins you get, like you get so many ropes holding you up, and you have to cut ropes and like, and it just was always like really stressful and tense. Like did I cut the right one? Like, and then you watch the rope like it get cut and someone gets let go.
Oh, that's like the mini game in Mario Party 8 where it's like they're standing on a platform and you have to also cut ropes. It's exactly the same premise. Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're right. Are there any other games too that like you like cherish that are even more random, from that time, I guess too?
Yes. It is Club Penguin Game Day. So, Club Penguin, but it's
That's
a Club
amazing.
Penguin game with just running around and like doing mini games and stuff. It's such a weird game. I don't know why I got it. I think it was on sale because no one wanted it. And I just thought, hell yeah. Let me get that.
I have so there's like an inside joke between like my friend Evan and I about the Club Penguin games. And I don't remember what's so funny about it, but I was at a rental store once and they had a copy of Club Penguin on the Wii, but the box art was like missing.
Yeah.
Like someone stole it or something. So they printed out their own cover art.
I need the Club Penguin cover art.
I guess. And so I have a picture like in my old photo library. I'll send it to you. I don't know why it's funny, but we'll find out once we see it.
Like, I'm looking at this now, I totally forgot. Like, when you asked me the question, I thought, no, I don't have anything more. But then I looked at my shelf and, I actually have this game. And I'm just looking at the box art right now. And on the back, there's this bean balance and, like, sack jumping mini games. And I totally remember playing those.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh, thank you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So before wrapping up, I just have a very brief thing. Like Mario Galaxy, I didn't finish that game as a child. I after like when I grew up, I remember playing it again. But I remember like this orb in the middle, and I remember it was just green. And I had dreams about like reaching further than the green orb, but I never did. Like it was just like an obsession. I could just not do it, and I had not heard of YouTube at that time and stuff, but...
Man, what a time to not know what YouTube was.
Like, you can just go and search them up, like, Mario Galaxy, blah, blah,
Green
blah.
orb,
like,
yeah, exactly. Like, if it was today, you'd be done.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, the developers just made the green orb, like, just one point of the orb, like, the more grand stars you get. But to me, especially when it was green, that has meant so much. It is just planted in my brain, and I think that's what I meant with what I said like earlier in the chat, that they can make stuff that, oh, this is just my job, or this is just like a tiny part of the game, and that tiny part can be defined.
Sure. Yeah. Like it takes up that much of your time, like your brain, like real estate, I guess. Like it's just
green orb, green orb, green orb.
Do you ever write green orb on the chalkboard a bunch, Felix, like over and over again?
I wish it was an episode on The Simpsons where it just said green orb and it was only me who got it or something.
Could someone please make that, like, and tweet it or like DM us or something like of you and a
Oh my
chalkboard,
God.
green orb.
But anyway, wow, we've been talking for quite some time, Sion, and it's just been a really nice
Yeah,
chat.
man.
It's been nice just thinking back on all these stuff, and I have more memories of my childhood than I did before. So, yeah.
It's nice, man. Like I want to go back and like play a bunch of these games now, and not just because of the memories, because some like the Wii is still full of like a ton of great games. And I mean, we have a lot of them on like modern consoles now. Like Skyward Sword is here, and A Boy and His Blob was a big one for me. That one is now on modern consoles too. And but there's still a lot of stuff that like you can really only play on the Wii, or it's even like it's more fun because of those motion controls and everything.
But thank you for joining me for the chat, Sion. And if any of you watching have any Wii memories yourself, like maybe you grew up with a Wii as me, or maybe it was just a thing that passed you by, well, whatever it is, let us know down in the comments below. I would love, and I'm sure Sion would also love, to just read through some of those comments and see how you experienced the Wii. Stay safe, play some Wii games. Yeah, Felix from Nintendo Life, out.